All right, well, praise the Lord. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. What time is it, everybody? We know what time it is. It's for one of the most hottest shows every Sunday right here on KAZ. None other than What's Going On with Sir John and Lady D. How are you guys doing today?
Fair to middling. All right. How about
Awesome.
yourselves?
You and that fair to middling. Man,
One
I
day you
tell
gonna
you.
change.
I'm always lukewarm.
One day he gonna change that fair to middling to great, fabulous, wonderful, absolutely,
Fair.
you know, or whatever. You know,
Take a
Balance.
flight.
I'm
you
balanced.
know, something other
Try
than
to sit
fair,
right
something other than
there.
fair to middling. You know.
Yeah.
Something else? Okay, I'm blessed and highly favored, and I'm in a good mood.
Now there we go. Now that's the
Amen.
change I want to hear.
Amen.
Awesome. And I feel the same. And we're so welcome, and so we're just so blessed here today because we got a new wonderful guest,
Amen.
Mr. Samuel Long.
Hey.
He's better known as Sam Long.
Yes.
And his promoter, Ronnie.
Yes.
Okay, and we're thankful for Ronnie to bring him on into our studios today. So let's get this show rolling. Tell us all about you.
Hey, well, my name is Sam Long. I say I'm king of my world. I'm master of my destiny. I'm destined
right.
for greatness, and can't nobody else show me a different destination.
All right.
Tell me
Yes.
about how you began and how you got there.
I'm a poet, a motivational speaker, an aspiring playwright, and well, my mission is to just basically change change negative thinking into positive thinking, and I express my work through my poetry.
Okay.
Through my poetry, and so basically, I'm just really just here to tell the world who I am, and what I'm all about.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Good.
I started writing poetry about a year ago.
Okay.
I just have a lot of things going in my head. Like I do a lot of self-reflection, and I had a lot of questions like who and what was I called to be? How can I motivate other people to be great? What's my purpose in life? Where I want to go? How do I belong? So I just want to put it down on paper and just express it to the world.
Okay.
To the world.
Tell me about that. You made a very valid point. I like that about finding what is your purpose.
Yes.
How did you go about finding what your purpose is?
Through a lot of trials and tribulations, doing things I wasn't supposed to do, and just learning through life experiences, and just having great men around me,
Okay.
inquiring who and what was I called to be, just elevate my mind, elevate my heart, get my spirit right with God,
Okay.
and just my trade is construction and driving trucks.
Really?
That's my trade.
Okay.
But I just had too much material and too much passion to my heart. I say, I can't be in this truck all day. When you doing something and I'm focused about just motivating and speaking, I say I have to go where my passion lies at.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me, have you been out there motivating? And
Yes,
who
I
have you been motivating
I
and speaking to?
I have a curriculum called Rational Thinking RTC program, and I had the opportunity to speak with kids in Maple Heights.
Okay.
Yes, and speak with them just about making wise choices and decisions in your life. Because what I say when I'm king of my world and I'm master of my destiny, what I mean by that is mainly that I take full responsibility of my actions,
Okay.
which makes me a master. Because if you don't master your thought, you will never master your actions. And if you can't master your actions, somebody else will.
Exactly.
So one bad move can change the whole trajectory of your life.
Exactly.
So-
it's like life is like a chess game.
It's a chess game, and
Yes.
you have to know who you are. You have to know where you're going. You just can't live life haphazardly and just thinking you're just going to wake up and be successful, because that's just not how it goes. You have to really control. Like, we are very powerful, but you have to know how to use that power in a good, positive way,
Correct.
because if you don't, somebody else will.
Correct.
You know, I'm glad you said that, because John's saying is life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. Now, that's John's. That's that's John's saying.
John's saying is life is a journey, and it's a journey that has one beginning and one one ending, and that's with God.
Absolutely.
So life is about finding that journey for you and your relationship with God, your own intimate relationship with God.
I agree.
So you take opportunities as they come. I look at everything as an opportunity. I don't believe in failure. To me, mistakes are opportunities. So, opportunities to get to know Christ more, God more, the Holy Spirit, the Helper, allow Him to guide you and lead you.
Absolutely.
So that's
One of my mentor always told me he said, Sam, he called me Young Sam.
Okay.
He said, Young Sam, you have a beginning and you have an end.
Right.
And life is always going to be ups and downs. You're going to have good times. You're going to have bad times. Now, how you navigate those times is up to you.
Right.
You know, you have the opportunity to plot your course. You know, so he always used to impart on me, make sound decisions. Every day is not going to be the same day. But what you can control is your attitude. You know, because your attitude can take you a lot further than any knowledge would ever take you. Because if people don't like you, if you got a snobby attitude, you're not going nowhere.
Exactly.
So those are some of the qualities that I encompass, like a good attitude, a good personality. When I come into the room, I want to be a light.
Right.
You know, just
Right.
make everybody smile.
Be
So
energy.
yeah, be
Because
energetic.
that's what we all are energy.
Absolutely.
The forms of energy. It is how we use that energy.
Absolutely.
You know, will give you your outcome. So now tell me, how do you handle when you are having that downhill moment?
Wow.
Because I know we all struggle with that sometimes, and you know, they say, well, we are human, and it may take you a little longer than other. But what do you do when you have a downhill moment?
When I have a downhill moment,
Where do you go?
I like to meditate. I like to sit back and think, and I use my poetry, and I like to sit back and write, because when those are good times to. I like therapy. It's like therapy to
Okay.
me. So some people cope in different ways. Me, I like to work out.
Okay.
I like to work out and just have a stress relief. When I'm not feeling good and I'm down, I like to be reserved. I like to think. Just take a deep breath.
Pause.
Yeah, a pause, you know, and for me, a good stress relief is running and working out.
Okay.
You know, when I'm we all have down moments,
Yes.
but I know in the back of my mind it can be a lot worse. If somebody else is going through something else,
It's
that's a lot worse.
Yeah, yeah.
And for me, I'm a history buff, so I know, like, our grandfathers, our great-great-grandfathers been through a lot more, and we really have it easy. And what I'm complaining about is really not that hard.
Right.
You know, when you take a look at the Jim Crow era or slavery, or even before that, it's just like there are really, really hard. I mean, I'm complaining about that Chipotle's didn't make my bowl fast enough. I mean, I don't know. I sat at the light for too long. I didn't get money as fast as I wanted to. These are, when you look at the totality of the problems in the society that we have now, it's just really not that much, and it's always going to be a better day. So I just always look forward and not look back, because rainy days don't last too long.
I like that in you. I like that you are, you give off that energy, and you keep. Tell me here, because when did you start getting into the positive thinking and the meditating? And is there someone in your family? Because, you know, for me, it took my mom.
Mm-hmm.
My mom brought us into different stages of going in religion,
Mm-hmm.
knowing God, finding yourself, getting involved, being out involved in the community. So you learn, you pick up things. But for you, when did it start?
Well, in 2009 is when I got saved.
Okay, because you seem like you're a very young man. May I ask you, how old are you?
I will be July 22nd. I will be 30 years old.
Awesome, awesome.
But I have a lot of mentors that are older than me. I always had an older soul, so I like. Most of the people I hang around with are 45 and older.
I know you're an old spirit, because I felt it. That's what I just was nosy. I wanted to know.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm
Yeah,
29.
sure.
I'm 29 now. In a couple more weeks, I will be 30. And for me, it just took a lot of stumbling blocks. I had to learn. I like to sit back and look at other people and learn from their mistakes, so that way I won't make the same mistakes, because I made a lot of mistakes in my life. So it's just like, when I was 25, I was just seeking and searching. So I used to read the Bible. I used to read everything, like Malcolm X books. I used to read Martin Luther King books. Anything that was dealing with history and art and in society, I was reading, and I just wanted to know, how can I be a better person?
What did you get from them?
Well, from
That helped you in your journey?
Martin Luther King just taught me to keep striving and keep to, like, elevate myself. Malcolm X, I just liked that he was a stand-up guy, and you just couldn't tell him anything. So that made me want to search facts. Like, okay, if you're telling me this, then what about this? What about that? And then, Martin Luther King just gave me that love factor, And then also, when I was just reading my Bible, it's just, like, my thing is the power God gave me, power, love, and a sound mind.
Okay.
So, God gave me everything. He gave me all the tools that I need to be successful. So there's no reason that I cannot be successful. So that's why I say I'm a king of my world. I'm master of my destiny. And I'm destined for greatness. Can't nobody else show me a different destination. I believe that in my heart, because God said He gave you power, love, and a sound mind,
Yes.
and not a spirit of fear.
Yes.
So
And you know what? And all that starts with you in order for someone else to believe in you.
absolutely.
You know, you have to walk the walk. You got to, you know, believe in what you say. Your words are found, and they, believe it or not, what we speak
Speaking
becomes
of
your
life.
existence.
Yes.
Okay? What we speak is your existence.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
And it becomes your experience.
Absolutely.
Yes,
It's your
yes.
experience. You know, your experience is just basically your reality. Like your perception, how you perceive things, and that's how you're gonna portray. That's gonna be your reality. Like for me, I wrote something. It's called. Well, I'm gonna give it to you. Do we have enough time to?
Yes,
go
yes. I want to hear. That was my next question.
The-
Was would you give me a little portrait? Let me hear
Yes, the
something.
poem is called "The Inner Me,"
Okay.
and I wrote this with basically. I had a lot of questions. Is it me or is it somebody else?
Okay.
So is it the enemy or is it just the inner me? Now, if you asking Sam Long the question, then it's yes and no according to me. So I started to think and wonder to myself, like, who and what was I called and created to be? I guess the answer to that question is ultimately left up to me. See, I don't know about y'all, but I can't continue to live my life like a fake wannabe, because from the west to the east, as far as the eyes can see, I know it's a God. I know it's a God that lives deep inside of me. But it feels like that devil. Man, it feels like that devil resides right behind me. And why is it that when I'm seeking and searching for my true identity, it feels like an infinity? And just a quick side note, I hate seeing so many of my brothers drunk, pouring, and sipping on Hennessy. I'm shaking my head, it's killing me because I know he's kin to me. Now, is that the inner me or is that just the inner me? How long are we going to continue to fall for his same old tricks, lies, and deceit? We buy all his products and we can't even get a valid receipt. It's like the same old song on constant repeat. Now, is that the inner me or just the inner me? Did he take a hold of my hand or did I take a hold of his hand? See, life is way too serious to be walking around without a master game plan. See, Sam Long got big dreams and ambition. I can picture myself in South Beach with my feet in the sand, with a big mansion with a lot of space. But it saddens my spirit to see so many of my brothers dumbed down, busy playing PlayStation. All the while, you got other men in the atmosphere busy building space stations. Now, is that the enemy or just the inner me? Now, don't get mad at me because I'm just keeping it real. Because of the fact of the matter is, somebody got to be designated to tell the truth. Because when a rapper hits the booth, it's always bros over clothes and Timbos. Now, is that the enemy or just the inner me? The inner me. Now, I can tell y'all like this. The enemy is starting to get fed up with the enemy. Y'all ever heard them say extra, extra? Read all about it? I'm like, extra, extra, read all about it. How can you when your mind is so overclouded, fixated and fascinated with the love of the flesh, but doing what it want to do is just not best? Now, is that the enemy or the inner me? See, I think we give the devil way too much credit. And all BS is about to stop. See, you can't shine no more on my block. I hear the sound of my watch going tick, talking it don't stop, and I recognize that we ain't got that much time to be living our lives so recklessly on the rocks. Now, is that the enemy or is it just the inner me? Is it the enemy or the enemy? FYI, Jews, for your mind. Yes, there's an enemy, but the enemy controls the enemy, and I got too much positivity to let negativity influence me. I said FYI, Jews, for your mind. Yes, there's an enemy, but the inner me controls the enemy, and I got too much positivity to let negativity influence me. So with all that being said, I'm going to keep my head high and walk with the queen and be a living example of Martin Luther King's dream. And yes, there's an enemy. But Lord, show Sam Long a different me so I can make it home. I'm Sam Long, a king of my world. I'm master of my destiny. I'm destined for greatness and can't nobody else show me a different destination. That's my poem, The Inner Me.
I love it.
That's good.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent, excellent.
Excellent.
Wow,
Speak
that's good.
volumes,
Yeah,
and you told
like-
a story
Yeah,
with
tell the
that.
story. I just really, my words are just meant to elevate your mind and cultivate your heart. Just give you, plant a seed so you can just think about what's going on in your life, what you're trying to do. Because if you anything like me, I ask questions. Who, what, when, where, and why.
Exactly.
You know, and so you just kind of figure out what you want to do. Is it because I know when I was in the 6th grade, I realized that I wasn't going to be 6'4", and I wasn't going to be dunking the basketball. I
Okay.
wasn't going to be the fastest runner. So I had to worry about the qualities that God gave me, like love, good character, integrity, things of that nature. If I could focus on the things that I do have and not focus on the outside and what the world perceives of me, that I can go a lot further.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You know, allowing God to bring you into His will, into His thinking, and not yours and not society's or the world. So if you can get into His will,
Absolutely.
His thinking,
Absolutely.
then all that you wish or want
Absolutely.
is yours.
Yeah, I like
The
to
mustard
say-
seed, that's as pure, as simple as that.
Absolutely.
And that is the guide. That's the way to do it.
Absolutely.
That's life.
I agree. I always say to myself is that I'm gonna just focus on what my capabilities, what I'm capable of, and not focus on what nobody else say, what I can or can't do. Cause I'm the type of guy, like, for some odd reason, I get motivated when somebody doubt me. Like when somebody say, Sam Long, you can't do it. I was like, oh yeah. And it just gives me food, fuel, and fire.
Get you going.
Yeah, it gets me
Yeah.
going. It revs me up, so I love it. Like, I always been the underdog. I always been the shortest guy in the class. I always been the smallest guy in the class. So
Right.
I always had that chip. Like, I got to go faster. I got to go stronger. So I just take that and I just put it into my work, into my art. That's what it's really about.
That is so
Yeah,
awesome.
so,
Now you have a big event coming up.
yes.
Tell us about that.
Friday, July 21st. I'm basically showing the world who is Sam Long, because I know people say, who is Sam Long and where he come from?
Right.
So I'm just doing a showing of my play called Thoughts of Eternal Conflict, Friday, July 21st at Mitchell's Ultra Lounge. Doors open up at 7 p.m. It will be upstairs in a private room. So
Okay.
we're going to serve dinner. The tickets come with a dinner. We got a live blend and DJ. We just gonna have fun. Like, you get to show, you get to hear some of my poetry. You get to now the story of Thoughts. Can I tell you about the story of Thoughts of Eternal
Yes,
Conflict?
yes, you
Okay,
can.
there you go, right there, up on the screen. Friday, July 21st. Frustration and confusion. Now, if you see that picture right there, that's the devil. The devil is trying to get me to go back to my lower self, which is SVL 4000. That was my persona when I was 21 years old. Don't ask me how I come up with that name, but
Okay.
SVL is my initials, so Samuel Von Shine Long.
Okay.
So, and the two girls there were just basically my desires of the flesh. And here trying. I was dating a girl. I was
Okay.
dating a girl. She was a virgin, and she wanted to get married, but I wasn't ready to get married. And I was like, should I be with her? Or should I live my single life? And so I wrote this play called Thoughts of Eternal Conflict. It's about that. And basically, God comes and speak to me. And he say, don't go with them. I can't give it away.
Don't give it away. Just give it the prologue. Just the prologue.
Just the prologue. But basically, I'm
Thoughts of
frustrated and
eternal
confused.
conflict.
I can't. I'm living at home with my mother. I don't have a job. I'm dating a girl that is a virtuous woman. She's not having sex to marriage. I want to have sex. And when I'm at my lowest point, that's when the devil comes and try to give me all the temptation of the world.
Well, this has to be seen. I can't wait to come and see that.
Yes,
How much
yes.
are the tickets?
$25.
Okay, and are they on sale
Yes,
now?
you can go to eventbrite.com, Thoughts of Eternal Conflict, or you can reach me at 216-972-2931. You can get your tickets. And we just really just gonna have fun. It's just that I want to turn that play into a 2-hour play.
Okay.
That's a 45-minute showing of it, and it's just really you get to really see some of my thoughts at the time, what I was going through, and how I made it through.
Okay. So you're taking some of your poetry then and putting it into
Absolutely, into the play.
excellent.
It's
awesome.
just like I want to do something called when poetry meets hip hop, or when you put poetry to life. So basically, I just want to put my poetry into life, and I just want to create things that sparks interest, because we all have problems, whatever your thoughts of eternal conflict might be.
right.
We just need to get over them. I think this is therapy. For me, it's therapy to be able to express it so I can move forward.
Right.
And then while I'm telling my story, someone else can, get help overcoming whatever they
Or
thought-
recognize
Yeah,
that they're going to the
recognize
same, because that's what poetry does.
Absolutely.
Poetry is speaking to the heart and the mind, not so
Absolutely.
much what's,
Absolutely.
in the soul.
Absolutely. So that's what I really wanted, just to cultivate people's mind and just uplift them and bring them, because I wasn't born into wealth, but you don't have to, I'm not.
Well, you were born into wealth.
You,
Wealth that God gave you. You're getting there. You're getting it. Exactly.
Not material things of the world.
It's the
Okay.
inside.
And you'll recognize it, and you're more and more you're living it.
Yes. So, and that's what I'm just about, just bringing out the wealth that's inside of you. you know. And that's why I just want to be a refreshment to the alternative. I just want to be an alternative to other things that we are so
Bombarded with.
all the time, you know, just so much negativity, you know. And it's just like really, like, what are you doing with your life? What's your purpose? Where do you want to go?
Right.
You know, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
Yep.
What are some of the problems you're dealing with, and how can we overcome? Because, you know, in our community, we have so many problems that we don't talk about. I think we're
Yes.
afraid to talk about it. We're ashamed to talk about them, and we're afraid of what people might say about us. But, you know, I'll be the first one to talk about it. I'll put them out there. And it'd be when I do my poetry, people come up to me like, Sam, I never thought I'm going through the same thing as well. I'm glad you said that, you know, I just want to be relatable.
Right.
You know.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, because there's nothing like being able to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we hold what we feel
Mm-hmm.
inside. We don't know how to get it out there.
Oh.
Myself, I find writing. I write all the time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
in my own comfort, because now I've been able to release.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you may not want to say anything
Mm-hmm.
because the thoughts are not there. And then, you know, thinking, dealing with positive thinking and not to yield off to the negative,
Mm-hmm.
it takes practice.
Practice.
It's a daily practice. It's a daily self-control with your inner thoughts and your mind.
In your mind.
You know?
Until it becomes that, like you're breathing.
Yeah.
I don't think people really understand that, because when we're born in this world, we're indoctrinated into a certain way of doing things as a child. And that way of doing things is not at its base God's way.
Right.
So it's a total re-changing of the way you're thinking. And as you grow up, some people, the majority, you know, the negative. And then some get it. And it's all about letting the Holy Spirit / the helper be that guide. You can argue. You can have, you know, talk to
Right.
God like Abraham and say, well, wait a second. You know, what if there's just one person in that village? You know what I'm saying, man? You know, but it is that relationship, and just keep on at it. And that's the daily thing.
Yes.
And holding on to that and reaching out when you're having a bad day.
Yes.
Maybe you have a friend who says, hey, time to go take a break, to make you talk and pause. And while you're out there
Right.
taking a break, you talk to the Holy Spirit and say, hey, can you come and get me straight here, man? And you get back to work and do what you got to do, or, you know, let that blessing flows. Because every time you do that, God will bring out that wealth that he gave you when you were born. More and more and more and more.
Yeah.
So it's a bounty. So you don't think about it.
Yeah, it's-
You know?
It's
No.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
was
no,
you
no,
gonna
no.
say
Because
something?
I was going to say, because, like, I keep, like, I find comfort. I have my little daily prayer, the little magazine there, and I love it, because when I do hit that moment, you know, versus because it's too much energy to be putting into something negative or something, a bad experience. And let me tell you something about...
It's too much energy to doing something negative.
Right, you know, it's a lot of energy there. So why not take and switch over? You know, but you have to be quick, and that's again with the mind.
Yeah.
You know, knowing how to reach out real quick, get that comfort, and then pull yourself on back. You know, and it's a tool. It's an art. You know, and I always said, even if we call things bad situations, but I don't look at them as bad situations, because believe it or not, there was something there for you to
learn. An
And
opportunity.
if you are able to learn from that, then it becomes a very good thing.
Yes.
Right.
So there is no bad.
Yeah.
Everything is good.
Everything's
Okay?
an opportunity.
Yes, and everything, we all are, it's love. You know, and if you can look at that big picture, that's all that exists. All this
Right.
other stuff, because it's just an illusion.
Yeah. Well, the only thing that isn't is that those of us who believe in God know that love is the only reality. It's with the love he created everything.
And love conquers
So
everything.
right. So the bottom line is, if that's the only reality, then hey.
Yes.
And, you know, more and more looking at things that are coming out with scientists and things like that, you see them really proving. I was just reading something about quantum physics the other day. And just is amazing how it ties into a lot of things that a lot of mystics or spiritual people have talked about and things like that. So it all comes together. It all
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Just a high
John's bringing
seat.
in quantum physics.
well, I think everything's everything. Everything is part of everything.
Samuel, I'm sorry.
And Sam is talking quantum physics
What you
in a sense of the heart.
well, it's self-reflection is very important
Yes.
Okay.
every day because God gave us the power to create. So you have to examine and then govern those
What you're
thoughts.
creating.
Yes, what you're creating.
Correct.
We created. So you have to, examine what I'm thinking about, where I'm going. Like, a friend, just basically told me, he say, Sam, control your destiny. Don't allow nobody else to control your destiny. And I have a friend of mine, she's a motivational speaker and she's a author. And she say, when you're talking about words of affirmation, when you wake up in the morning time, what do you tell yourself? I'm tired. I don't feel like going to work today. It ain't good outside. You done just told yourself 7 bad things to start your day before you even get to brush your teeth.
Right.
So it's just like I like to speak power to myself. I'm successful. I'm a king. Because we've been so bombarded with the N word, you ain't nothing. Just imagine as a kid how many times you were told, or I know I was a bad little boy.
Okay.
You
What
know,
you
you
think,
bad.
Sam?
I was misunderstood.
Did you have a lot of brothers and sisters growing up?
I had 2 sisters.
Two
I'm the only
sisters?
boy.
Okay.
I'm the only boy.
Did
I
you
had a lot of
Did
energy.
you come from both parents? You had both
Yes,
parents in your home?
they were never married, but they were in the same household.
Okay.
They were in the
all
same
right.
household. So
Okay.
my father was there. My father was a truck driver. My mother, she worked at Case.
Okay.
So they were always home.
Oh, good.
They were always home. But I felt like I was misunderstood because me and my father didn't have a great relationship. He didn't really, talk to me like that because he was busy. And my mother was just kind of doing her thing. So
Okay.
when I was acting out because I wanted love. I wanted somebody to talk to me.
Most
and not,
kids do.
yeah, and that's what my problem lied at. I didn't know how to channel my energy. And so when you hear things, you a bad little boy. Nah, I just needed some love. I just
Did you
needed some
feel as though
attention.
your sisters got more of the attention than
Leave
you
it to
did?
my sisters. They feel like I got more attention.
That's
I didn't get a
sisters.
lot of attention,
I got 8 of them, and I hear that all the time.
I didn't get a lot of attention, but they felt like since I was allowed to go ride my bike, and since we lived in the neighborhood, they didn't want the girls to grow up fast. So no, y'all stay on the porch.
Right.
Right.
So they felt like that's favoritism. But looking back at it, I understand. Like you don't want my mother and father didn't want them to come home with no kids
Right.
or anything.
And they thought that you could take care of yourself as a.
Exactly. They're like, well, Sam, you rode your bike all day. We had to stay on the porch. I'm like, well, that's a kind of little unfair, but I can understand why.
Yeah.
So, but it's all good. I think a lot of people, when you're talking about life is a process. It's like we all want to be a diamond and we all want to be gold, but nobody wants to be refined. To have gold, you got to be refined. To be diamond, you got to be pressurized. No one wants to go through that process. And
There's opportunities.
It's opportunity. It's opportunity for growth,
Right,
and
right.
maturity. The guy you're talking to now is not the same guy 10 years ago.
Well,
Awesome.
speaking of that, here's the hot seat question of the day.
Okay.
I want you to
Yeah,
connect some dots for me.
Okay.
How did you come to know that you were saved?
I always believed in God. My grandmother used to take us to Church of the Living God, Temple 67 on Garfield, 102nd and Garfield. So I always was there, but I wasn't there. I always believed that there was a God, but I just didn't know. I didn't know about Jesus. I didn't know about the blood.
Okay.
I just had to start to read, and I didn't know myself. And so once I started to read the Bible for myself, and I started to gain understanding, I started to put little boy things away. I started becoming to a man. I started acting like a man, and I started understanding the concept. I want to say it was about 2009.
How old were you?
I was about 22 at the time. I was 22 years old.
But what was it that shook you, or what was it that you knew that you met Christ?
Well, let me back up. Well, let me tell you my story about thoughts of eternal conflict. I was incarcerated in 2008, and I remember standing there, and the judge looked at me and just said 97 months, and it was the coldest feeling of my life. And then I was like, what do I have to do to get myself back? Now, at the time, I wasn't saved. I was just doing what I wanted to do, not listening. I think I was just acting out because I wanted love and attention, and I didn't know how to go about doing it.
Okay.
So I
Even
remember
at this age.
at that age,
Okay.
I went through a rebellion stage about 21, where I just wanted to party, do what I wanted to do, not listen to no one, and so at that time I want to say a year later, I'm like in my cell and I was just frustrated, and then I just picked up the Bible, and I started reading it, and I started to carry it along with me, but I was kind of like tucking it a little bit,
Yeah.
like I don't want to like.
Look like you the boy now.
No, you
all
couldn't
of
No,
them-
jail now.
Jail, you don't want to look at
I
the
turned my
religious.
life around now, and so
Right.
I was kind of timid. I was afraid, but then I started seeing so many other cultures. I seen Muslims, I see Jews, and they all walk with confidence. They was confident, and they prayed, and they was like, I was like, okay, if they confident in that, why can't I be confident with this Bible? And I started being around other guys, which actually that's when I started to believe. I just
Okay.
really started to believe. When I cried, that was the first time I ever cried when he said 97 months. I was like, you really not as tough and as hard as you think you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that right there was like, man, you need to change your life around and move forward.
What did you do, Sam?
Robbery.
Okay.
I went to jail for robbery. It was 2008, and that was my first crime I ever committed, and the judge gave me 97 months.
So it saved you from a life of crime.
It saved me from a life of crime. And I'm gonna give you a poem called "Thoughts of Eternal Conflict" so you can actually see from the beginning to now.
Okay.
All right, this poem is called "Thoughts of Eternal Conflict." Man, I'm standing here. Well, in this case, I'm sitting here, and I'm starting to have thoughts of eternal conflict. And it feels like a tug of war is brewing in the inside of my spirit. But the only thing that's going through my mind is the time that I spent confined behind the line doing 85% of 97 months was the debt that I had to repay. See, I was shackled down as the U.S. Marshals quickly whisked me away. I can see the tears and hear the voice of my younger sister Taisha saying, "Keep your head up, Sam, and don't let them see you cry." As I was standing there having thoughts of eternal conflict. See, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a cold holding cell. OG screaming, "You good, youngster? 8 years ain't nothing." I was like, huh? Can you say that again? He said, "You good, youngster? 8 years ain't nothing." Now, can you imagine that advice from the slave band mentality? See, I was 21 years on the planet. My eyes were wide shut. You couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I knew everything. I was too young, dumb, and ignorant to understand the consequences of my irrational thinking. And now that I think about it, it's like I had inadequate use of reasoning, cognitive deficiencies, and like a plant that's uncultivated. I was shadow-minded, unsophisticated, no taste, lacking knowledge, just to say the least. As I was standing there having thoughts of eternal conflict. They say a good foundation is the rock which man should build himself on. I guess that fully explains why I was sinking and drowning in my own misery. See, my best thinking that got me here, my circle of association, was like a pack of wild wolves. No vision, no guidance, and no direction. As I was standing there having thoughts of eternal conflict. Man, Sam Long, you still standing there having thoughts of eternal conflict? Yeah, that's why I'm pacing back and forth in this 10x6 cell. Frustrated and confused, hands on my face saying, what in the world am I going to do? What in the world? What you going to do, Sam Long? It's time to be a man. You got to man up now. And I know y'all probably thinking, like, what is thoughts of eternal conflict? Well, thoughts of eternal conflict is like emptiness full of void, loneliness and despair, reaching and grabbing for the wind that ain't even there. It's like you riding around in the car, you ain't even got a spare. So many thoughts, so many emotion, so many desires, so many passion. Dang, it's a conflict. It's a conflict. Man, it's a conflict. It's a conflict. Man, it's a conflict. Thoughts of eternal conflict. That's my poem.
Oh, you are just so
That's good.
awesome. And
Absolutely.
That's good.
I love it. So where are you going to do your speaking engagements? You must get out here and more students must hear you.
That's my goal. I really want to take my material, my RTC program, Rational Thinking Curriculum, and I really want to just redefine it, republish it, because I want to add more content, make it more relevant to today, to the kids today.
Right.
My goal is I want to motivational speak. I want to be in schools. I want to be in juvenile facilities, just really going there and talking to people about making positive decisions. Learning from where I've been, because I know exactly where you've been at, and I can see where you're going.
Exactly.
Now, if you can start to examine your thoughts and make better decisions with your life, then we can really go far.
Like a real quick question. When he was asking you when you met Christ and you met him at that time period
At
in
that
your
time,
life
2009.
with yourself, you think when you picked up that Bible and started reading all those times your grandmother was taking you to church and they were pouring the words into you, the living water, came to fruition at that moment?
No, because at that time I was in church, but I wasn't there.
You wasn't there, but
I
the
wasn't
word
listening.
was good.
The
in
word
it
was
to
there.
you.
It was certain things like I remember, like me going to church, and I remember Pastor Dilla preaching. I'm like, man, like why, like where was that? Why didn't I open up then? Like why didn't I listen then? I should have listened then. I should have. And then somebody came to me and said, when a student is ready, the teachers will appear.
Right.
So he just said, Sam, it wasn't your time. It wasn't your time yet to grab on to. Everybody comes to knowledge or comes to God, comes to Christ when it's their appointed time.
Exactly.
You know,
There's no mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, you make that decision,
Yeah.
and God knows when you're going to make that
Right,
decision.
Right, right.
yeah.
But He keeps on keeping on.
I was watching a movie called I'm Not Your Negro.
Okay.
Oh, that's a pretty.
Pretty good movie. And
Yeah.
you have the flavor of James Baldwin.
Okay.
He was one of the patriarchs in the civil rights movement,
Okay.
and when
And a great
he-
American poet.
and a great American poet. And when
An
he
author.
tells the story, it's fluid, like you're telling your story. You know, it's not that you're rhyming per se, but you're sharing your story.
A journey.
Yeah, your journey.
A journey.
And this is something that is a lost art, what you're doing, because this is what our ancestors were instructed to do all the way back to Abraham, was to tell
The story orally and pass it down and pass it down and pass it
and
down.
pass it down. And your style of telling the story is absolutely great. It's amazing. It's remarkable.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember the first time I actually spoke. I was nervous. My hands were shaking. I was stumbling over my words. I just couldn't really fathom that a guy that was put on Ritalin in the second grade, that was supposed to graduate high school, was going to get up here and actually speak in front of a group of men. And they looking back at me, and they like nodding, waiting for me to say something. So it was very, my mouth was dry, my hands were sweating. So it's just really a testament to God, and I really give Him glory, because just for me to even be here today, speaking on this microphone, says a lot, and it just makes me want to go more and be. I have so much more I can do. I have so much more I can offer, because I know of the history. Like he just said, we're supposed to. I did a show while I was incarcerated called Passing of the Torch.
Okay.
It was for Black History.
Okay.
And I basically gather all the people that I felt that were knowledgeable in history, and I say from one generation to the next generation, what would you tell the next generation? So I asked all these questions, and basically I got a panel of younger guys,
Okay.
and we took all this knowledge and say how we're going to move forward and how we're going to build up and pass it along the knowledge to the next people. And that's what it's about, and that's what I want to do. Tell the story, where you come from and where we're supposed to be going. Because if you don't know yourself and your history, where can you go? You're basically blind.
And everybody has a story.
We
to
all
be
have a
told.
story to
We
be
all
told.
Have a story to
Absolutely,
be told.
absolutely.
You know, and we all are blessed. We all have. Everyone has a gold, a gift.
Mhm.
This is what I want to say. We all are gifted with something, and it's up to the individual to find and know what that gift is,
Cultivate.
because that gift is your job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if you got to work, then why not use your talent and make that gift? Then that way it doesn't even become work.
It's not work.
It's not work, because it's you.
Absolutely.
You being you, and you're
Absolutely.
getting all the fulfillment out of it. Plus, no one can take that away from you.
You can't fire me in my purpose.
Okay.
How can you? I'm walking my purpose. You can never fire or terminate me.
Exactly. My point exactly.
You can fire me from a job.
Yes.
That's not my purpose.
That's right. That's
Yes,
right.
yes, yes.
And once we understand that,
Yes.
I think we as a race, of whole of people,
Mm-hmm.
Or
Well,
as human beings.
yes, we'll get so much more gratification out of life every day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know what you're here for.
Absolutely.
Well, it's like Paul said, everybody has a job in the body of Christ.
Yes.
Everybody. You know, there's ministers, there's shepherds, there's prophetess, there's prophets, Everybody has a job in the body of Christ. It's understanding as human beings, humanity, that everything is in the body of Christ. You know, that's just the way it is. Once you get that, and then like you said, find your purpose or whatever gift God has given you when you came into this world, then it's all right.
Then let's talk about another gift I hear you have. You've coming out with a line of lip
Yes,
cologne.
cologne. See, basically,
Creating.
Yes,
Always creating, it
Yes,
seems.
yes. I always have things that I want to do. Like in my mind, I'm a mogul.
Okay.
So I want cologne, I want shirts, I want shoes. But yes, I have created a cologne called SVO for men and
Okay.
SVO for women. I will be releasing it for my birthday, July 21st at Mitchell's Ultra Lounge.
Okay.
And basically, I just got the idea. It's just that I just wanted to smell good, and my thinking was, well, for the woman, like, what would I want my wife or my girlfriend to smell like if she came into the room?
Okay.
And then what would my girl would want me to smell like if I came into the room? And so that's why I said I wanted to create SVL, everything that a man or a woman desires.
Okay.
No.
And,
Already got the brand name.
Yeah.
Right there.
Now, did you know that what you're doing is a prophetic gift from God?
Yes.
You know, very good, because it is. I mean, when you read the Bible, you'll find that God anointed the apotropher, I think they call them, the ones that created the what is it called? Not the anointing oil, but I think that's what it was when they had the frankincense and the myrrh.
Oh.
Yeah,
All
the
of that.
apothecary,
Yeah.
the herbalist.
Right.
Yeah.
The herbalist, yes,
The
he
herbalist,
did.
the apotropher, and God empowered them to be able to do that. See, there is something on your life that, of course, is always bigger than you. You're on a journey, obviously, to discover what it is that God has for you to do that's bigger than you. And then when it hits you, don't get discouraged because it's bigger than you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Know that
Absolutely.
it's because
Rejoice in
He's
it.
going to use you
Absolutely.
to
Right.
do what it is that He wants you to do. So yeah, I think that's interesting that you're not only poetic and prophetic, but you also have the gift to want to create a cologne, a smell, a scent.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and you know, I'll let you know this right now. God loves a good smell.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, He says the prayers of the saints are like a blessing to His nostrils. He loved the prayers of the saints, you know, and so I think it's just interesting. I don't know exactly all that he's doing, obviously, because it's between you and Him, but I just see signs, I see indications of what He's doing, you know, because when you walked in here, I'm like, is that a preacher? and you know, I hate putting.
In a sense, he is.
You know,
Through his poetry, he is. You are.
Give it the word.
Exactly. But see, what God is doing now is He's taking vehicles like the thoughts of eternal conflict, an illustration of how God is loving you and how God cares for you and how He brings you out of these conflicts. I'm seeing it more and more. I'm seeing God using men and women of God like yourself more and more versus the preacher. You know, because people can get saved from this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
People can get saved from good theater like this.
Absolutely.
You know,
And that's what I want.
Absolutely. Well, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen because preaching ain't always what people
I think it is.
can receive.
Or receive,
You know,
or
going to
think it is.
church and receive. That's why even Jesus in His day, He always gave illustrations of and stories or parables
Right.
That's correct.
of
That's right.
His time. Here you are with the thoughts of conflict doing the exact same thing, but in 2016, 17.
Absolutely.
It's good stuff, Samuel.
Absolutely.
I'm really, really proud of what God is doing in
Absolutely.
your life.
And that's what I like. I wrote a poem, and then in my second poem is called "I'm Here." And basically, I was just saying my material is meant to elevate your mind and cultivate your heart from the great pyramids of Africa all the way to the city streets of Cleveland. For the life of me, I can't understand why it's 2017 and my black community still so torn apart. Man, we lost. We riding around in cars just to floss. We selling our souls at all costs. Hip hop got us thinking that we a boss. But have no fear, because Sam Long is here. It's a new Leo on the rise, born July 1987. It's a new Simba in the pride. And I'm here to kick out all you old, fake, phony Mufasas that ain't got no heart and ain't got no courage. Because I'm tired of seeing my beautiful black sisters walking and driving around with car seats and strollers, carrying all the unnecessary weight on the back of your shoulders. Well, the wait is over, and I'm here. So that's just a small clip of it, but
Yes.
yeah, through our I just wanted to resonate. Like, I want to be relatable, whatever we go through, and I know it's from God, and I just want to use it correctly, because God, He wants obedience more than sacrifice, and that's a good smell and a scent to Him.
Yes.
So really, it doesn't matter about the cologne or shoes or signature. It's about what I'm doing to help bring people to cultivate their lives,
Yes.
bring them up, raise them up.
Yeah.
When I
Lead them more and more to the water,
to the
Yeah.
water,
to the
to the
living
water.
water.
Yeah. All I want to do is just get you to think about what you're doing. And somebody else gonna come put some sun. God gonna put the sun. Somebody else gonna put the water.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
Right.
grow.
Yeah.
You're gonna
You
grow.
know.
And
You're
then
going
someone
to
else is
grow.
going to watch all of that, and they're going to be
Absolutely.
like, I want some of that too.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And that's the test. That's
Yeah.
testimony.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
testimony is all about.
And being able to tell the story and then to pass it down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're leaving something whenever that day comes when you decide to get married
Yes.
and have your family.
Yes.
You'll be able to pass this story down. They'll
Mhm.
be able to tell, because that's what we did back in history. We told stories.
Mm-hmm.
And they were always forever going. And
Yes.
then as time, I don't know, this new era, it seems like some of the stories are no longer there. Some families still do it, and some families there you don't have a story to tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So that's sad.
That's amazing that you said that, because I remember I was in our junior high school. I went to Harry E. Davis,
Okay.
and they had a program called Dance Africa Dance.
Mhm.
And I can't remember the guy's name, but he always used to say, "Use your genius, Junior. Use your genius." So when we was in a music class, the lady, we had to remember a song. And I was like, where are the lyrics? Like, give us a sheet of paper. I don't like you saying all this African stuff. I don't know what to say. She said, "Sam, it has to come from the heart." And she was telling me a story. And she like, we just going to beat on the drum, and I'm going to tell you the story. And I was just like, and now that you said it, now it just came back to me like, oh, it's full circle.
Right.
And when I do my poetry, and I tell people when they get up there, I said, you can't read it off of paper. You got to do it from here. You got to know it. It's your life, because you can be more vocal with it.
Yes, yes. And this is so powerful because I know my big mom used to tell me things, and she'd say, put the pencil and paper away. Quit writing things down. Learn how to get it right
Here, yeah.
Okay? Get it here. Let it resonate here, because
Yes.
then that way you don't have to write it.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
You know it.
You know it. You
and
can
when
live it.
and when it resonates with the spirit, you know it, and can't nobody take that away from
Nobody.
you. Okay?
Nobody.
That's just like God. That's how God
Yes,
is.
yes,
indeed.
And so it's just like His word. We got to put His word on the tablets of our heart and the front of our
Exactly.
mind.
Inscribe
Yes.
it on our
Yes.
hearts.
Jay-Z. Everyone familiar with Jay-Z?
No, I'm
yeah.
not.
No, Japanese.
Kind of, sort of.
He wrote a song, Story of OJ. Have you guys seen that video?
No.
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
It's interesting.
I really want to share that because
It's very interesting.
Please do, because I
you never seen. Okay,
no,
I'll share it.
I've never seen
And
it.
okay, I'm going to quiet everybody's mics
Okay,
down, and then I'm
okay.
going to share it. And tell me what you think.
Okay.
And for people that don't like the N word, I'm sorry, but it
is.
it is about the N word.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to play this for you. Then I want you guys topics on it,
This is
conversation
great.
on it.
Okay,
One
great.
second.
I tell you put your hope and trust in God,
I'll
and
share
He'll
Okay,
get
he's
you
going to share
through.
the story.
Okay, what he's saying here is that. Okay, now I'm still hearing it. Why am I still hearing it?
Oh, through the
Oh,
Okay,
there
there
you
we go.
go.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, what he's saying is he's talking about the N word, and OJ was never accepted that he was black. He would say, "I'm OJ."
Yeah.
That's how he looked at himself. He's not black. I'm OJ. And what Jay Z is singing about is that we've been looked at for years as the N word. You know what I'm saying? Don't matter if we're light or dark, we're still, a Negro. I'll say Negro. It
Okay.
doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, you're still a Negro. It doesn't matter if you're a house Negro or a field Negro, you're still a Negro. And society has looked at us in this negative
This light, in this negative light,
forever.
right?
Now we have these young men like this guy coming up, Samuel, who is bringing a new light to who we are, without degrading ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm at with this. I'm like, okay, it's time for us to stop seeing ourselves as the N-word.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And seeing ourselves of who God created us to be.
Absolutely.
Right.
And I like the fact that you said in the beginning is that when you wake up in the morning, what do you tell yourself? The key is, what do you tell yourself?
Right.
I don't
Key.
care what John says about me or what Derelia says about me. What do you say to yourself? Because that's who you are,
Right.
and you can create your own
Your
world.
own destiny, your own day.
But
You know.
But unfortunately, you got stuff like this where this guy is, telling you that this is what you are. You are a Negro, and don't matter if you're light, dark, rich, poor, field, house, you're gonna be a Negro.
And you know what's sad about that, Larry, is that then they buy it and then they sing it.
Yes.
And
exactly.
as they sing it, they don't realize that they becoming it. They're taking ownership of what someone else has spoke over in their opinion. Okay?
Right.
And so you have to be careful about what you take ownership
Well,
of.
that
What you
goes back
listen
to
what
his
you
point.
watch, and what you give your energy to.
Right.
The
The enemy or the enemy. It goes right back to his point.
Yes.
That's right.
You have to be very careful what you allow into. You
Yes.
have to be careful.
You have to guard this.
You have to guard your heart. You have to circle of association is very. In my curriculum, we talk about circle of association. There's different layers. Your heart is the bullseye, and then everything out. You have to put business, friends, casual, everything in this proper perspective.
Yes.
Because not everyone has a right to come speak into your life. Not
Exactly.
everyone has a right to come be in your life. And you have to be very cognizant and conscious of what you're doing, who you're allowing into your
Yes.
life, what you're listening to, because
Yes.
subconsciously you started to be molded like these
Yes,
things.
yes.
What you eat, what you consume.
Yes.
Whatever you consume, you're going to be just like.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And that's going, just like you just said, it's more than just the physical, it's the mental, and it's the spiritual. One of the things in my journey that I'm going through right now, and I guess I've always have, is that whole thing of mind, body, and soul. And having them all synchronizing and thinking in the same way. First, I have to get my soul, then my heart and my mind to follow with Christ. And that's harder you think, because we have, in our society, a lot have left this part out as been part of something, your heart, as a vehicle of thinking. It's a vehicle of doing. And when you mention there that circle association, be careful what you allow into your heart, because the heart does drive what the body does, or the mind. And then it then affects the soul. If we don't control that avenue, and that what we allow to be inscribed in our hearts, and because it should only be God, then
And then,
we'll
so
believe.
on that point too, John, there comes a time throughout the day too. We have to learn how to just be quiet
Yeah.
and quiet the mind.
There's a time for
Take no
everything.
thought. And I practice that sometimes. When I leave work, I'll get in the car, no music. But I make a daily habit when I get in the car, I immediately, thank you, God, I'm giving praise, I'm giving thanks right then.
Feeling gratitude?
Yes, I'm giving my gratitude on my way home. And I just want that moment of silence.
And
You know?
speaking of silence,
Yes.
we have a young lady who's been silent through the entire show.
Ronnie?
Oh, my goodness.
Sitting in
Yes.
that corner.
Ronnie.
Yes.
And I know my audience wants to know
Who is she?
is she?
The lovely.
So we got to bring you. Come on in here, Ronnie. Put that down.
Just
Because
introduce
without
yourself.
you,
I got it now.
you brought us this wonderful young man, and I really am excited. I'm looking forward to working with you. Give us a little quick overview about you, Ronnie, and how long you been doing this.
I've been doing this for about 20 years now. I'm a fashion stylist and I manage entrepreneurs.
Okay.
And it is my passion, it's what I love. Everything about me is fashion first. So you speak about what you all love. I speak and I wear what I love. So I give you me. I'm a walking billboard of what I do every day. I brought up in fashion with my parents. They're probably the best dressed human beings I've ever met in my life.
Awesome.
And I've learned from the best. And meeting Sam was a joy for me because he was my client at the bank as well.
Okay.
And then we just developed a relationship, a business relationship. And so that's what I do every day of my life.
That's
It's my
excellent.
passion. And we speak about wealth and speak about money and all type of monetary things. But this right here is my passion.
So do you have a line of clothing that you're...
No, I do not have line
Okay.
of clothing. I shop for people. So
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a business.
Yeah, really.
yeah,
It's big business, actually.
yeah. It is.
Stylist.
So
Yeah,
that's-
stylist.
And how long have you been doing this?
For my whole life. I'm
Wow.
in my 40s. I was doing it in high school. I do it.
Did you go to the vocational school, Jane Addams?
I did not.
Okay, because I went to Jane
Yeah.
Addams Vocational and I modeled. That was my thing, fashion design.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, I used to be a model years ago.
Okay.
I had kids and gained weight and all of that, but right now I.
Got into being you.
No, I'm losing.
Okay.
This isn't me. Don't get. I'm losing.
You're
but
beautiful.
Thank
Come
you.
on.
I appreciate that. But yeah, I shop for people.
Alright.
My life is clothing.
That's
Wow.
excellent. And I want you to understand something because you said something about this. I deal with this too, but I have to also realize, don't beat yourself up because beauty is in here.
Oh, I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
Not what's
good.
out there.
I feel
So it was
good.
just so wonderful. We really thank you for
Thank you for having
introducing us and bringing this young man on
Yes.
the show. But this is going to be a wrap. We've got to come to a close, but we will be following up with you. Give us the information one more time.
My
where you're gonna
Instagram
be.
is at SamLong87. You can follow me on Facebook at Samuel Long. You can inbox me on Gmail at SamuelLong1987@gmail.com. If you want to buy tickets to Thoughts of Eternal Conflict, Friday, July 21st, you can call me at 216-972-2931 or go on to eventbrite.com/Thoughts of Eternal Conflict.
All
And if they
right.
want to hear you speak,
If they want to hear me speak, you
Private
can hear
gauges?
me at Chicago's Chicken and Waffles on Wednesday and the B-side on Tuesday.
excellent.
All right.
And this is just going to be a wrap for us. Thank you for tuning in with What's Going On with Sir John.
And Lady D. And keep in mind for what this young man has been telling us. When you wake up in the morning, give yourself a positive talk
Exactly.
to get through that day. To make your
Look
day.
in the mirror, okay?